I am background in engineering, have a small start making sustainable fishing gear in the city, and yeah, looking forward to it.
And Michaela, I owe you an apology, but my connection wasn't so great, so I couldn't realize that it was you further back because everything was a blur. So my apologies.
No worries. No worries. Do you want to just introduce yourself really quickly?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I was like, sorry. Um, so basically, I live over here in South Lowell. I'm in a butter to the Markley Group. So if you recognize my face and from all of the meetings, because it has been 10 years now of meetings, I'm that guy. And so basically, anything that I hear that's about, the Markley Group, I try to get involved in or try to find out what's going on and add my piece to it just because it is something that is ever expanding over here in South Lowell, and a concern that that we have here in our neighborhood.
Awesome. It's great to have you here. So yeah, this will this meeting will be our first time we really put anything about the data center on the agenda. So really glad to have you, Jake, here, and we'll probably continue to discuss it. But yeah, we'll go ahead and get started with the agenda. So the first thing on the agenda is the minutes for approval. We just want to take a minute or two to look it over if you haven't already. A lot of it was about the stretch code, the specialized stretch code. So yeah, take a read, and then if someone wants to make a motion to approve, please do that.
A motion to approve.
All right, do I have a second?
Second.
Awesome. All in favor? Aye.
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 All right. All four of us. Awesome. Meeting minutes approved. All right, the next item is sort of a debrief from the last meeting and continued discussion on the specialized stretch code. I was hoping we would be able to vote on whether or not we wanted to write a letter to the sustainability division in support or, not in support about this, but Vic is not here and Mary's not here, and I know they wanted to weigh in on this, so I thought we might keep it going for the next meeting to make a more informed vote and then a more informed suggestion, so.
I would like to just add that per our last meeting, I mentioned I was going to talk with some of the people working at Link to get their 2 cents on what they're doing. I talked to one of the head operating managers for the whole project. Long story short, they don't know where they are in the stretch codes, but they do know it's well above current stretch codes due to university requirement of all new buildings having to be LEED Gold or above certified, which if you're unfamiliar with it is, I'm sure we're all pretty familiar with this in this room, but the United States Green Building Council, a rating for buildings. If I had to guess and what he had to guess, they would probably be pretty close to these specialized stretch codes. So they're not cutting corners with it. They're being very thoughtful in their considerations. They're even thinking about offsetting the project with renewable energy off-site, which isn't the preferred option, but there's difficulty when you have a very dense area in renewable energy generation. And I see your hand up.
Yeah, AC, you have something to say? That's a great update, thank you.
No, they're going after their lead. Do you know if they're also, because this is something I've been pushing for. You guys have heard me talk about it before, and with Catherine too. I'm an Envision sustainability professional, and that's the ASCE rating for sustainability. Do you know if they're going after that? It's to specifically for building large public infrastructure like this. It's
Yeah.
even it's more direct. Green is specific to the buildings, individual development. This is everything around it. Metering your new utilities so you know where you're facing loss, and employing local employees, and making sure operational costs stay, go to the local, stuff like that.
Yeah,
Do you know if they're going after Envision as well?
what is the acronym? Is it an acronym? I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing.
It's the Envision program. It's the American Society of Civil Engineers sustainability rating. And you know, a lot of it is just signing affidavits promising when they go into operations that they're gonna choose good chemicals for their buildings, like I said, metering your utilities to see where you're dealing with loss and waste. And also repurposing infrastructure around you, so kind of like if you're gonna build a wastewater treatment, you get points. If on the top you build a really nice soccer field as well.
Yeah, I'll definitely
You know, because,
I'll take a look into that and get back to you. That's very,
yeah,
because I'm sure that they are getting quite crafty. Not to interrupt, but because they are looking for even wastewater heat recovery, certain generations like that, improving the local wastewater and water infrastructure. So they are taking a lot because they understand that this was a quite undeveloped area of land, and they're adding a
yeah,
lot of new development. So
yeah.
they're taking a lot
No,
of this.
that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
That'd be awesome.
I'll get you an answer for that.
Yeah, you know how us civil engineers, we're close to God. We like to build, you know, sewage pipes right through pleasure zone. So
Yeah,
it's kind of like ours.
but thank you. I'll get back to you.
Anyone else have anything now? Mary's here. That's great. Mary, I had said earlier that because Vic isn't here and she really wanted to weigh in on the stretch code discussion and take it to a vote, we would hold off on voting on whether or not we wanted to write a letter or something to approve or to encourage the city adopt a specialized stretch code until she was able to attend. We had a very involved and very robust discussion on it the last meeting, so I think we learned a lot. But if anyone has anything to add above and beyond what we discussed, or any like further questions that we want to research before we're comfortable either supporting or not supporting, we can discuss that now if you like.
So what will supporting actually mean in terms of benefits for Lowell residents? Because it's not just support or don't support, but what are the tangible benefits that we project? What's the value? Because while the specialized stretch code is a really good and an awesome idea, it doesn't mean that this is the right time to push for it. There's dwindling resources for people based on their climate across the country, and even the kind of money that people get in Massachusetts for climate-related projects. So we are thinking about pushing something forward when resources to support such an endeavor are dwindling in a city that has a lot of low and moderate income households. So I think we need to think about that. We can't just think about it's a specialized stretch code, so we want to do it. What's the immediate value? Has someone done a calculation and said, wait, if we pass this, this is what we are going to get in terms of GHG reductions? Like there must be demonstrable value before pushing policies forward. That's just my point.
And Mayor, that's the same thing I brought up last week when Dylan Patel from DEOER was here. We didn't have any data on the benefits. And even I was more curious if payback values on the scale of the Massachusetts Climate Action Plan on a scale of 20, 30, 40, and 50, how much money this is going to save renters and building owners. So that was something I'd like to really see, and maybe we can push for the next meeting, is getting some values. And I can reach out to Dylan myself and
That would be great.
and see if there are anything that the Department of Energy Resources have already calculated, because, I mean, I'm in support of it, but I agree with you where we need to see how this is going to affect renters, especially, yeah, if it's going to lower their energy bills, great. but who says a landlord can't raise those
Let-
bills in conjunction with the lower energy rates?
No, let's not kid ourselves with reducing energy rates. That's not true. And somebody needs to, somebody who knows more about this. I don't know if there's actually anyone here who actually knows more about energy affordability than I do. And I'm not being arrogant. We have our own electric costs today, right? And then we have the projected costs of upgrading the electric infrastructure. So you cannot comfortably say that it's going to lower rates. Massachusetts is currently going through a process on energy affordability because this is a significant challenge for decarbonization. So if you think about Lowell, where a lot of people are paying more than 6% of their annual income towards energy, then you add the burden of specialized stretch code, then you add the burden of, we didn't even pass, the city council did not even approve our housing production plan. I mean, what the heck are we doing?
And I'm sorry if I misspoke. I didn't mean to say lower rates. I meant to say lower bills, energy bills, over not the rate, but the actual use of
And
energy.
energy bills will not be low. They'll not be low without a structural change from the Massachusetts Department of Public Utilities and without Massachusetts doing something legislatively that changes the way we pay for electricity. That's a fact.
Well, with more efficient building, oh, and sorry, go ahead, AC, you have your hand up.
Efficiency, Michaela, will not help it. If efficiency was enough, we would not be struggling so hard across the Commonwealth to make energy affordable.
No, to follow through with both Mary's point and is it Jake? Is the point, and then
Billy.
even this Billy, the discussion I had with you, at this point as a council, I don't think there's anything for us to vote on as far as a letter of support or not support. Clearly, we're all in favor of it. It's a brilliant idea. But number one, is this the time? And number two, why can't we put some energy into working with like people that can help to vote this in? Because landlords are controlling ultimately whether they're going to retrofit or whether they're building new. You know, there's too many others. So what? We write a letter, it goes into the wind. What can we do to reach renters and say, this is good for you, here's the proof? You know, there's nothing. I would rather we come in from the side. Like, what can we do to support other people getting on board saying, you know, long term, this is a good idea?
That's a point, well taken, AC. And I did not forget, you had a suggestion to maybe add to a future agenda something about like a landlord group. So if you and I want to work on that separately, we should plan a like interim time to work on that separately, because that's something that I would be really excited to work on with you. And maybe we can put a one pager together for a future meeting.
Yeah, I mean, I think you know, we can talk wonderful plans about all these wonderful programs and it's great, but it's the right thing, but what can we effectively do right now? And I think come in from the side and that's, you know, get people to understand what it is and work on that landlord. How do we reach those landlords? And, you know, I showed you what I had and that's almost 2-3 years old now, but I've got over 20,000 data points of ownership of Lowell is now 56% renters, you know, so that's a lot of corporations and private enterprises. How do we reach those people? How do we make them care? Like, we can't just say we're for this wonderful thing. Of course we're for it. It's a great idea.
Well, yeah, I think there's some back. Mary, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I do want to say something that I think the Lowell Sustainability Council is missing. One, we have a division of sustainability that is charged with among many things, decarbonization and energy efficiency. And the strategy for like the 3-year plan, the massive 3-year plan, 2025 to 2027, has a heavy focus on renters. And the city of Lowell, Catherine and her team are working on this type of strategy. I think it is not right for the Lowell Sustainability Council to spin off on its own in trying to make some of these things happen, because we actually have a very able division of sustainability. In fact, it's praised everywhere. I have visibility across the state and even outside this state. So I think we need to work on how best can the Lower Sustainability Council support the division of sustainability law. They have plans, they have thoughts, they have things that they've written down, submitted. They have plans on how to reach out to landlords. We need to work with them, not be this entity that thinks separately about things and then brings to them. I'm not saying that we cannot think about other things, we can. But when it comes to building energy efficiency and decarbonization, we have one of the best teams around.
That's a great point, Mary. And I think from here on out, I think it'd be appropriate for us to maybe reach out to Catherine. I work with her on we all work with her on a pretty basic schedule, but sitting down and just listening and seeing like what is the best way. Because I know Catherine's been having a tough time making it to these meetings, and sitting down with her and members of her team and asking what's the best way that we can help out, get involved, put these pieces together. Because I agree, I don't want to be spinning off in our own selves. We have a team of great resources here within the city and the private industries that work in this city to help us get to where we need to go. So thank you.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know if, Jay, you or Cynthia have any, since you are the team,
Yeah, I mean,
so.
I do wanna get there, to do the, the enhanced stretch code. It is really kind of about the time.
Yeah,
Can we put a date on that right now? No.
yeah, that's fair. But in terms of like working with renters and landlords and stuff, I know you're pretty involved in.
Yeah, that's really too bad Victor wasn't here.
Yeah.
That is really his role.
Yeah,
Well, maybe we table it for
we can.
for
yeah.
August.
So maybe,
And Victor's been doing a good job reaching out to the community.
Maybe have some members from like CBA as well join our next meeting, and some of the neighborhood groups that
Yep.
focus more directly with renters and landlords.
yeah, so that could be a focus for, one of our next meetings, in the future, and maybe we can request Victor to join and like, let us know how we can help.
Maybe like September. so
Yeah,
maybe for
September,
yeah.
that could be a September meeting item.
So Lowell is one of the designated equity communities by MassSave, and being part of that designated equity community, and it's also a Community First Partnership award recipient. So Lowell does have a responsibility to reach out to renters. So that's why I'm actually insisting that we talk to Catherine and ask her how we can help. Because this is just reality. It's one of the towns where there's going to be a heavy focus on trying to reach renters. And it's also a CFP partner.
So there's
Love it.
resources
Yeah.
to work with, is
Yeah.
right, so that's a good point, Mary. All right, so maybe we can talk more about that at a September meeting. Does anyone have anything else to add on this item before we keep going?
I do know that we are sending letters out
Your mic is off.
to,
Oh, here.
sorry. I do know that Victor is working on sending a mailer out. We're working on buildings with 4 or more tenants. He's working with renters. He was just at CMAA today in a meeting. So we are working on reaching out to renters and landlords who rent units 4 or more.
Oh, great.
So
Awesome. And is that for like energy efficiency stuff or the home modernization navigator, that sort of thing?
It's both, all of it, but the mailers are for the Mass Save program. Yeah.
Cool. Good stuff. All right, anybody have anything else on that?
Do we have to vote on tabling this motion to do anything formal?
Nope.
Do we have, no, we just table it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the next item is annual schedule of events and tabling. There is a document on the Google Drive called Annual Lowell Tabling Events. But the item I wanted to bring up specifically is to table at Saturday, September 13th. Mill City Grows reached out to us to potentially table at an event that they're doing. This is gonna be, called Harvest Fest. So, it's like tours of the farm, arts and crafts for kids, Lowell Parks and Conservation Trust, Bookmobile, Lowell Public Schools are all gonna be tabling there. I think it'd be an excellent idea. So, AC?
How many meetings do we have before that, September 13th? One?
Uno.
Just
1.5, counting this one as a half.
I want to get that letter for the chokeweeds entering the waste stream and how bad it is, but I haven't, I've done very little on that. I want to get that together if we're going to, so I can get you guys to vote on that.
Okay.
Just handing out flyers so people are educated on these stupid plants that are ruining everything.
Ruining everything. So for
They're bad.
So for materials, is it enough for us to just run it by you all and make sure we're in,
So it, just as Catherine explained last time, you guys would vote on it, that you want to move forward with that, then
Yeah.
you send it to the Sustainability Division and they run it through the appropriate channels. So we would send it probably to communications and things like that, so it would get approved at different levels. And it would have to be something that the city was actually on board with talking about
okay.
or pushing forward.
Can I ask, can we send it to you to review and then then vote on it? Because if it's not cool with you, there's no point in us voting whether or not to do
Oh,
it.
the other thing I did mention to remember, if we could reach out to Paul St. Cyr, he might already have something
Oh,
that he's
true.
trying to use, and we can help get that. If he's got some sort of format that we can expand on, just to make a little flyer and give people, hey, don't throw this in the trash. It's really bad for the environment, Don't
So
put it in with your regular trash or your yard waste. Do not put it in your yard waste either.
So again, it would go through the Sustainability Division first, not just directly to Paul St. Cyr.
Okay.
Because it would have to go through Catherine first.
Yeah, that's
And then
fine.
up to him, and then he would go to the city manager, and that's how that works. So,
Okay. Okay. In the interest of time, we'll just send it to Catherine, who will probably talk to Paul St. Cyr about it, and then we'll get an okay or not. Cool. But does it, so can we vote to table yes or no at this event, September 13th?
So I'm a little confused. What is it that you're looking to do? Chokeweed, that's kind of,
So,
two
n-
different things.
so now it's just voting to like, as a group, be there to table at this September 13th event, and we'll get materials approved and stuff, making sure we're doing the approved materials and talking about the right things to people, helping out. And also, like, if the Sustainability Division has materials that they want us to use that they are already pre-approved, we're like very happy to talk to people about Home Modernization Navigator, Mass Save, whatever you want. But just, Anna Christina was talking about a plant
Yeah,
that she wants to educate people about because it is ruining everything.
Invasive. Yeah, it's very invasive and it's entering this. That's why I'm saying there may be an initiative out of there we can move off of. But if we do vote to get a table at the event, I'm trying to get a flyer together for us to vote on as a group internally to take to the city council and say, hey, can we hand out these flyers at this event? But I'm running out of time and I'm not moving fast enough, but I'm gonna try. So there's nothing to vote on yet. I'm just where I'm at.
I have a question. Did you say take to the city council?
No, she misspoke.
Okay.
Sustainability
Okay.
division. We know we need to go to the sustainability division. We got it.
Yes, all right. Sorry about that. I'm still old school. Oh, we need all this permission. But it's easier if you guys get on board, you can take it for us.
You have something?
No.
Oh, I thought.
More for the table and about maybe not later about it.
Okay. So, can I make a motion? Yeah. I'm gonna motion that I'm gonna move that we table at this September 15th event. Materials will all be approved by Sustainability Division, if not originated from the Sustainability Division for the Mill City Grows Harvest Fest. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I'll third.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
Let's try it.
Let's do it. Awesome.
It's tight, but let's try.
Yeah, we got this. All right, next, item is, so this is Markley Data Center, and the collaboration for the Lowell Sustainability Division. So for the people online, I sent out a document called, Markley Data Center Background Doc 7/24/25 LSC meeting. So Jake has been at this for 10 years. He's an abutter to the Markley Data Center. Recently, it's been put before the city council to approve additional diesel generators, which got voted in. Markley Data Center, Markley's going to be back for approval for more on-site fuel storage for these additional diesel generators. So in the meantime, a few city councilors made a comment that they would encourage Markley to work with the Sustainability Division to explore more sustainable alternatives and, or more sustainable practices for this expansion to be more in line with our climate goals as a city. So first, I would open it up to the Sustainability Division team, Cynthia and Jay, to see if there's been any movement there with working together, and then, yeah, we can talk about it.
I haven't heard anything from them. I guess.
Oh, your mic is off, Jay.
I do have a really, really quick
Yeah, I haven't heard
question.
anything from them. Yeah, go ahead.
I think I might have to recuse myself because this is actually one of the clients I've done some work for my company. So I don't know ethically where I should stand. Personally, I've been feeding friends of mine. We've been discussing AI and energy consumption and how bad it is for the water with these large data centers, but since they are a client, I feel in good faith I should probably not listen in. I don't know.
Okay, that's up to you. Yeah.
I don't know. I want to listen in, but I don't know ethically if it's a good idea.
But if she jumps ship, then you don't have a quorum
We do now that Mary is coming.
anymore.
no, because my brother's.
Four, yeah.
Can you,
I guess maybe not comment.
yeah, we're
I
not
think
voting.
jump back
just
on.
Just don't yeah,
Yeah, just don't say.
Yeah,
Yeah, just-
okay. I won't comment, but I can listen.
yeah, that's fine.
Okay, good.
This is a public meeting and recorded, so that you can watch it online at any point, anyone,
Oh,
so.
yeah, you're
It
right.
should
Oh,
be
yeah,
okay.
that's right. Okay, all right,
Thank
great.
you for that, Cynthia.
Yeah, thank
Um,
you.
So Cynthia, I don't know if you had anything to add.
I do. I know that Catherine has spoken with someone from the Markley Group about the diesel generators themselves, but not the fuel storage. So it would be better for her to update you on exactly, what they discussed and kind of what agreements they came to or what they might do in the future. But I do know they have already had a meeting.
Oh, great.
Yeah,
That's great.
on one thing, yeah.
Okay, and Catherine's on vacation, so hopefully we'll hear from her. Is it possible to get an update from her, like, in the meantime, before our next meeting, potentially? Or-
I just can't answer for Catherine, I'm sorry.
Okay, I'll reach out to Catherine
Okay.
and see. Okay, yeah, so, we'll open it up for discussion. I can give some more, detail about it if people want from my deep dive into data centers. And Jake, I don't know if you wanted to add anything about your experience.
Just kind of like, I looked over your one pager just a little while ago.
And I'm
Um,
sorry, I sent you the wrong one initially, Jake.
No worries.
I'm sorry. That was like my rough cut. So I sent you the right one now. I just forwarded it to you a little while ago.
So I mean, basically, when it comes to data centers, there was naivety back in the day. 10 years ago, a lot has happened with data centers across the country since then, but there's always a theme as to where data centers pop up. It's usually places that, basically are low to middle income and really don't know what's going on until after they've arrived and the problems begin. And so being forward, going forward with this and how do we fix what's already here? Diesel engines, I've constantly heard backed best available control technology. That is constantly referred to through conversations that are had both at public hearings that you guys have probably seen me at and heard the Markley Group say that. There are other options out there. It's just trying to get people to the table to explore them more. Fuel cell technology I brought up at a planning board meeting. I think it was last September, don't hold me to it, but there's been so many, but it was in the most recent string for the planning board approval that I brought that up because I looked into it. Why did I look into it? Because when Markley Group first came to Lowell, they had said that there was a guy who was on the planning board at the time who isn't on there anymore. He said 20 diesel engines in a residential neighborhood, like this is crazy. Like what's going on here? So he had reservations about it when they first came. And one of the options that was brought up saying like, oh, things would change in 10 years and it wouldn't be this. It would be, fuel cell technology. It's coming a long way. And that was 10 years ago. And we've already had AI come into the field and like look at things. And people are saying AI is a solution. I've heard somebody say that recently. AI is a solution that is going to get us out of this problem. Not when the actual company in question is saying that these art generators are going to be here for 30 years. The four behind me that were put in have another 20 years left on. Well, not 20, actually 22 years left on them. So nothing is going to change with them for that time period. So if we don't do something now, then the entire site is going to be run on diesel. That's why I'm trying to figure out like how we make this sustainable for the city and for the residents that immediately abut this facility. And now with so many engines, it's a 1 mile radius around the facility that actually is also impacted by it.
How often are they running the generators? How often are they running the generators? Are these
So it
used for
depends
backup
on,
generators or are they emergency
I'm like,
generators?
is your mic on?
Yes.
Because I'm like, I can barely
Oh, is there,
hear
you want to
you.
use
Sorry.
mine? Here, use mine.
Can you hear me now?
Is it the thing in the middle?
No?
We all have our own mics. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly
Oh.
fine, but that's why I was wondering if it's that microphone in the
Maybe you
middle.
gotta talk
Like, what's
louder,
that thing
Jay.
is-
Can you hear me? Hello,
Oh,
hello?
I can barely hear you. That's fine. We're good.
That's
I'll make it
weird.
work.
Oh, maybe it is the thing in the middle. Come
Yeah, I
sit
think it's
next
the
to
thing in the middle. There you go.
Come sit
I'm
next
like-
to the.
Working. All right.
So these don't work. Good to know.
That's perfect. There you go. There you go. I was like, I'm like over here going like, I can't hear you.
I guess from my perspective, I'm guessing, are these emergency generators? Or
Yes.
Okay, so how often would they be running? Have you ever, gone out and kind of got an estimate of how often they're, say, running per month, day, or anything like that?
So basically, once a week, they're tested for approximately 5 minutes on an individualized basis. That's a weekly basis. Then annually, there's a burn. they are careful to say that it is averaged to 4 hours per engine. The first two engines on my side, known affectionately as EUs 1-1 and 1-2, because they are all numbered by the Mass DEP. They are all, those are run for 8-hour burns, 7 to 8-hour burns, 1-3 and 1-4, 1-4 being 100 feet from my residence. Those are run usually around 4 hours. Sometimes it can be 4 to 5 or 6 when they do the long burns. That's not including, that's load testing. So when the load testers are on site, those are loud. They have been told to move them away from the residences because before they used to have them right next to the engine, diesel engines that they were testing on the south side. Now they have to be on the other side of the building to try and like lessen the noise from them. That was a DEP requirement. Then the north side engines, I don't know much about them because I know that when they're load testing ours, at some point they have to load test those as well. Because there's a house gen and 2 other diesel engines that have been on site for a while now. The rest, to bring them up to 21 engines, were put in between March and April of this year.
And the exhaust from these generators, do they go through any type of filtration and scrubbing, or is it just straight exhaust coming out, and do you smell fumes or anything around the neighborhood?
Yeah, so the 4 south side ones have been an ongoing issue with fumes. And that's because they are the oldest engines. They didn't have any filtration technology put on them. All of the new engines that were installed this year, if you look at the site, they have these gray boxes that sit on top of them. They're called Ripos air filtration systems. And those filter out particulate matter. It's not all of it, but it's a very good large percentage of it. I think like 90+%. I don't know all the details, but anyway. And that's installed on all of the new ones. And they had to put those on because the site was going to be over the nitrous oxide levels, like all the levels that they were. It was going to be over that. So in order to bring it back under, they had to put all this stuff on the new ones. But these new engines are not as close to any residences as the 4 on the south side are, which have been the ongoing problem since they were installed back in 2016, 2017.
And these ones don't have any of the gray boxes you're talking about?
Right. So these ones rely on just the smokestack height alone. We are upslope from their facility. And so because of that, our house sits higher. And the smokestack actually only comes to the 2nd story of our residence. And Mass DEP regs say that they could do data modeling. And the data modeling that's out there, versus the 1.5L. The DEP has a requirement that it should be 1.5L, or basically over the tallest structure that's around it. These engines can't support a smokestack of that height. And so because of that, they're stuck where they are, and every time they fire them, we still have emissions that come into the neighborhood because we're all uphill from it.
Yeah, and I did want to say something to the question that was just asked to Jake. Diesel generators do actually produce pollution even when they are not actively running. So that we need to settle that they do produce pollution even if they're not running.
So yeah, this agenda item was to open the discussion and get an idea for what the Sustainability Council wanted to do with this. I think it would be a great idea to ask the Sustainability Division what they think we could do. I definitely think it's a really, this data centers are a hot topic in the whole country. Like it's a huge issue. So Lowell is, and the timing of this in Lowell, it's already built, it's going to expand, city councils are interested. I think it's a really great opportunity. And, the Catherine's meeting with Mark Lee, so I look at it as a good opportunity to hopefully be an innovator and a good example of
place to start, in my opinion, would be to address those older generators.
Yeah.
Especially in terms of the emissions.
Do we know when the next hearing is in front of the city council for expansion? Because I feel like we should have a member there to talk about it.
That part of the deal has already been set. I think what we're discussing is the future. It's the present. I mean, the fact that this was, in the last city council meeting, that this was pushed back to the sustainability division. But there's been a ruling on this particular, on the issue that we are addressing. So it's not an issue that we're taking back. We're thinking about the future. That's why folks are supposed to have a conversation.
Right.
I mean, the division itself.
And I know that, when I was reading over the documents, I'm all for development within the city of Lowell, and I understand that some of these high-tech industries require considerable data load and considerable with distance as well. It's helpful to have them within the area, especially with Link. The flashy images come with a darker area where the demand for data centers is right around the corner. So is there a way that our council can help guide city policy? Because I understand there's going to be data centers coming up around here. In the Northeast, it's not as huge of an issue because electricity is so expensive. We're not getting the massive scale data centers that we're getting in the Southwest of the U.S. But to Jake's point, how it's conflicting DEP regulations where you have to have a smokestack 1.5 times the height of the tallest building in the area, but those generators can't support that smokestack, so too bad. It's a disservice to the people of this city who can't just afford to pick up and move. And it's a disservice to the people in the surrounding city that look at Lowell as a city of innovation, yet we're powering that innovation with old diesel generators. So what's the easiest way? It's not the easiest way to say that. What's the most efficient way for our council to make an impact in that policy going forward with a lot of these expanding issues? Because Link is not going to be the first development in this area. We have the Hamilton Canal District that hasn't been developed yet. We have 1,000 other projects going on in the city, which is great to see. But how are we, right, yeah, how are we powering that? How are we supporting that data infrastructure is important? Because I think someone made mention to this last meeting, the city of Cambridge would be putting those diesel generators in the middle of the city. So why are we?
I beg to disagree. I don't think the Massachusetts of July 24th, 2025. You would be very surprised. It's easy to say you wouldn't have a diesel in Cambridge, but there's a huge data center push across the Commonwealth. If there was any way for the Commonwealth to have data centers in many places, they would, because it's being viewed as an economic development engine. So I think we need to kind of understand the politics above just the city of Lowell. But when it comes to policy, just for the city, we do need to take that first step, which is have the Division of Sustainability lead the charge. Because right now, it's usually very hard for you to get change when folks have not sat down. We don't know, there's very little we know as the LSC. And I think that Catherine and her team have the potential to know a lot more about Markley than we do. So I still feel that the first step is the Division of Sustainability going in and working towards understanding the operations of the data center and thinking through what steps can be taken to first address neighbor concerns. Because I think we are losing something here. We have neighbors like Jay and other people. They have other concerns, noise, they have many other concerns. And truly, for me, the first step is getting those type of concerns addressed. That first deal with the neighbors, even before we start getting to like big ticket items. Because the truth is, there are microgrids that can actually be used to back up data centers. Those microgrids sometimes, unfortunately, have like a little bit of diesel, but they are more cleaner and much more better than just having a straight up diesel or even HVO type backup system. But we won't know more. Energy stuff has to do with data. You have to sit with someone down and get to learn a little bit more so that you can be able to make recommendations that make sense. Right now, we know what we know on the advocacy side, but the city has a responsibility because the city did bring this company as an economic development partner. And we'd like to hear something or to learn something from the city directly. And that starts with learning from Catherine, whether they are meeting, when they are meeting, and what their plans are. I think what we can do as the LSC is make sure nobody drops the ball on that. The fact that it was said that it was taken back to the Division of Sustainability. Our job should be to shepherd and make sure that that thing does not get dropped by the Division of Sustainability.
Jake, I remember at the city council meeting, I think it was June 24th, you had brought up some issues that were supposed to be addressed back in, was it October, that were not being addressed? Was it the noise from the cooling towers or?
So there's a noise issue with 2 flatbed chillers that are located in the equipment well behind me. So directly behind me, I have 4 diesel engines. One directly behind me is the 100 feet one, but then going in a westerly direction, that's where the engines are. But towards the east part of it, the northeast part of my house, there's an equipment well down there. And more stuff is being added to it. But last year, I want to say it was around August, 2 flatbed chillers were brought in and put in that were temporary. But those trigger on when there's an emergency, and they come on every week for testing. But when they trigger on for an emergency, which ended up happening last year, I think it was either the week of Thanksgiving or the week before it. It was a Sunday into a Monday. I can tell you it came on at 8 p.m. and it didn't shut off until almost 2 p.m. the next afternoon. The following night, it triggered on again because whatever was going on with the coolant towers on the east side of the facility, it went on again. When that went on, the city inspector clocked a reading at the equipment well of 80 decibels. This was sustained. This wasn't just like a thing. This was 80 decibels consistently for that long period of time. At my residence, I clocked it at 65.9, and that was sustained for the entire time with this high-pitched noise. And I brought that up because I actually played the recording at the city council meeting and said, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I tried to show you, because we did a walkthrough with the city councilors. Some city councilors decided to take them up on the offer. But everything was really quiet. Everything was turned off. I'm like, go in the equipment well and stand next to this. Don't tell me that this is on. It had to be a controlled situation. And I even got ragged on by a podcaster in Lowell for bringing that up. Like, oh, this guy was like out of control I was trying to show them the truth of what they were not hearing when they came to the site. There were things intentionally turned off. They were turned back on after the city council left. There is more noise than what is there. It's just a game that is being played. And with that, that's what I wanted them to hear. I'm like, would you want to live next to this? And so I played the recording at the city council and said, this isn't, they're like, I don't know what that noise is. I'm like, because you didn't hear it. When I attempted to show you where it came from, which was just walking to a fence, we were already on the access road. All they had to do was walk to the fence, not go into the equipment well, but walk to the fence and look down. The Markley group, like, they flipped out. They're like, you can't go near there. I'm like, it's a fence. I'm not going to fall off the other side of the fence, but why are you keeping me away from it? Why are you keeping me away from this fence, knowing that right on the other side of it is the offending piece of equipment that I demonstrated the noise from at the city council meeting? That wasn't a fair and valid walkthrough, and the city council bought it hook, line, and sinker, especially some councilors where one was quoted as hearing the birds. The birds were louder than the engine. Well, the engine demonstration that was fired at that time, they were asked if it was being load tested. They said no. If it's load tested, it would be louder than it was. So that whole walkthrough and what the city council based their decision on wasn't factual information. It was a very orchestrated event, and that's the way it was. So, I mean, how do you go against that? How do you actually display what really is unless you've got the recordings yourself, you've got the video, which I demonstrated during that. So yeah, there's definitely a noise issue with regards to those flatbed chillers. Every time they're tested, they're non-compliant. They are outside of the DEP regulations. They are pretty much, I think, if the city inspector were to come out on Mondays and listen, they would be over the amounts that are allowed for light industrial as well.
And you said this was a high-pitched noise?
Yes.
Because I kid you not, I heard it. And I live near University Crossing of UMass Lowell, and I remember it was November of last year.
Oh,
and
really?
I remember because it was a Sunday. I remember it being like quiet because the Sunday is usually no one on my street, and I could hear it. And I was like, it was driving me insane. I can only imagine how loud it was for you if I'm hearing it across town. But
you could hear it down as far as you could hear it on Lawrence Street, and that's over the hill, which acts as a barrier.
But it was like enough that I was picking up on it. Some
Yes.
of the roommates weren't.
Good memory.
But I knew because I was so upset that day. I was like, what? I was trying to do homework. I couldn't do it. It was very distracting. And it was very neat, but it was bothering me because it was constant. It would go on and off. And I just remember.
This was a constant. Like, they tried to reset, because basically what it was put in for is to back up the coolant towers on the east side of the property, which I think there was a Lowell Sun article today that showed the coolant tower, like the string of them. I don't know if anybody caught that, but there was a string of coolant towers on the east, and they were still building them out. And the backup to them are these two flatbed chillers that are in the equipment well that make that very loud tonal noise. Especially when they're operating at full capacity. There's a very high-pitched, constant whine.
That's what it was, yeah. And
Yes.
when I meant it went on and off, it wasn't like constant, it was like, it would be on for hours. Like, I remember it was on for a day, and then I would hear it go on for another few hours and come back off. So it wasn't like, every 5 minutes, but
Yeah.
So I know what you're talking about. I don't even know what it was.
Yeah, I mean, Jay, you know a lot of stuff. I feel like you're like the guy for the job when it comes, because you know all the mechanical stuff.
Well, I actually, in my other life, I was an environmental health and safety manager in the
There you go.
industry. And I understand where he's coming from, especially in terms of inspections, when you come around, it is different.
Different when people walk the.
Yes.
Yeah. I wonder if the city could do like a pop-up inspection.
But I think in a situation like that, that's a private company. So, really, the most effective way to get in there is through OSHA or DEP.
I was gonna say,
DEP, yes.
Okay.
Because
I think that data centers, that these diesel generators have noise doesn't need a pop-up. I'm not saying that we don't need inspection. It's a fact. It is well known across the country. I think what the Division of Sustainability can do for Lowell residents in this particular period is ask Markley some questions. And Markley should provide some answers to some of these questions. Questions like, what are you doing or what can you do to reduce noise? I'm not, there are some questions that need to be asked, and there are some answers that both Markley, the city, need to come up with. And something like noise is one of them. The other thing is about pollution. There are other, what are they doing to reduce pollution? Because even when they have diesel generators, there are things a data center can do to reduce emissions, even like right now. So this is a question that they should be asked. I know the city council yesterday tried to bring that motion on HVOs. Awesome, but that's way out there. There's some simple things like asking these questions, and some of these things can be mitigated even before Markley comes before the city council or the planning board to ask for permission to put in other diesel generators. What are they doing to reduce pollution? What are they doing to reduce noise? The technology exists. We need to know if they're using any of these technologies.
Catherine did have a discussion with them, and I'm sure she could let you come and talk to the council at some point or tell us exactly what questions were asked and the answers, and we could inform you on that. And I know that it's an ongoing conversation, so I know that she's not finished speaking with them. So it's sort of an ongoing discussion about, and I believe I heard her say how to be a better neighbor, so I know she is working on that.
And I agree that the technology exists out there, but a company like that's not just going to do it out of their good heart. They have to do it based off of legislation or policy.
Agreed. And I did some, reaching out just because I'm very curious about that, about, the financials of these private companies are they're private companies, so you can't just find them there. But if there's a company, a type of company that's positioned financially to be innovative, I would say data centers are probably there. Basically, what I found for data center trends was that Markley's a 40 megawatt capacity data center, going to be 50 megawatt is their total plan. So if they basically data centers make around $175 per kilowatt per month capacity, so that's about $7 million a month and $84 million a year. I don't know if those numbers are completely correct. I would love to ask Markley, what sort of money do they have to kind of make these changes or do the research? And I think
No. This guy's got a huge tax break from the city of Lowell.
That's true.
So
That's also
part
true.
of getting a huge tax break is becoming a responsible neighbor. So we cannot approach them from the fact that, oh, Markley, do you make enough money to be able to find out if you can afford to use diesel oxidation catalysts, or if you can afford to use selective catalytic reduction? Well, you can't do that. It's a requirement. You're in our neighborhood. You even got money to be here for very few jobs. In fact, the city of Lowell owes its residents a quick calculation of how much we in Lowell have benefited from the tax break that we actually gave to Markley. That's maybe not for this place, it's for another forum, but that has to be the attitude. We can't deal with a company that's making money, producing pollution with kid gloves. Somebody needs to ask them the questions. Are they using any emission reduction technologies? Yes or no? If they are not, somebody needs to require them to use that. What are they doing about noise? If they are not, somebody needs to make them do that. And that person is the city of Lowell, at least right now, who views Markley as a great partner in economic development. So, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, and, you know, because they're gonna be, hey, who cares, you know, if we have an attitude with that, and I didn't know about the tax rate, so that's interesting.
$77 million over 20 years.
Nice. So, yeah, I think having the right conversations with who can enact policy, because if we're gonna have industry partners, because I'm all about industry partners, I'm all about bringing revenue into the city, even if it's under a tax break. You know, I'm all about that, that's what we need a sustainable source of income to fund sustainability initiatives in the city, I get that, but there has to be some sort of policy for these businesses coming in here to meet these requirements. We can't be, I know I've been using the word disservice a million times, but it truly is disservice and a wrong system put in place for residents of Lowell.
Sounds like we're all in agreement. There's another issue too that I'm really curious about. Jay or Cynthia, your thoughts on this. According to, estimated usage of a 40 megawatt data center, which usually runs around 50 to 60% capacity, would be equivalent to about 28% of the city of Lowell's entire energy consumption. So they're a huge, like, that is an anchor energy user in the city. So there might be some, you know, transmission upgrades that are required when they expand that might get socialized amongst ratepayers. If, you know, they require those upgrades and then, you know, another company wants to come in behind them, you know, maybe a new substation has to get put in and then who pays for that? So it's kind of like, that's a concern, but also a very big opportunity because they can use being such a huge energy consumer to have the demand response for grid flexibility or innovation there to kind of help Lowell's position.
That kind of just made me jump to the thought, is they have all these generators, the size of, you know, emergencies, are they gonna use them to try to shed demand response?
They do, yeah. Other data centers that,
Yes.
yeah, they do. And that's running the diesel generators outside those windows that are just maintenance and the burner and all of that. I mean, it would
Yeah.
help with their energy costs.
So it's good you said something about demand response. That should also be a question that the Division of Sustainability asks Markley, is what they are doing about demand response.
So we're, you know, I feel like this is a group that's done some work on this. Mary, you certainly know a lot. Jake, you live next to this facility for since it started. Do people think it would be appropriate for us to help the sustainability division by maybe drafting a list of suggested questions to present to, that Catherine can choose from, to ask Markley, and then have a meeting, our next meeting focus on data center? Mary is shaking her head.
Yeah, I'm shaking my head because I'd like us to respect Catherine. And that respect just begins by honoring the fact that she is very knowledgeable about the kind of things that we are talking about, and approach this not as folks that are trying to, let's first hear from her, because these conversations are beginning. And we should first hear from her before we begin to send her questions. After all, she's actually an energy engineer by profession and by training. So she may actually know much more than we do. And she's been in both hearings. She's been in every, conversation. So I think the first step is to respect her office and let her lead and find out, and maybe find out from her, what she has found out what her thoughts are, and then maybe we can begin to give our own input. There's something else you asked, and you're talking about load management, 28% of energy use being from a data center across the city. Unfortunately, there are some things that are not going to be determined by the city of Lowell. The way to deal with data centers eventually is through legislation. So there are things that we can do, but and I think but it's important to know that like that particular thing, some of that stuff has to do with legislation, because it's only legislation that can develop a new customer class. So, and therein lies the solution of reducing the burden on energy bills that would be distributed to everyone. That's legislative. That's something that's that's supposed to be handled by the DPU. The city of Lowell will not handle that.
I don't think the city will handle it, but I do think it should be a consideration that the city brings to the attention of Markley.
They should.
This is like, you're in we're in Lowell, this is a consequence,
So I can give you just a brief example of what happened in Minnesota. Minnesota has new laws that are, we were discussing this this afternoon at a meeting somewhere. They have the tax breaks, tax policy, which is the same as the economic development plan that bill that passed in Massachusetts that actually gives tax breaks to data centers. They also put something in there on water conservation, but it was toothless. I'm kind of trying to show you the power of these companies and the influence they have in politics. So they have data centers that use more than 100 million gallons of water a year must consider using a conservation technology. So these are things that we need to think about. How much water are they using? What's the impact of that water use in Lowell? Permitting is something that we already passed in Massachusetts that may make it easier for data centers and more difficult for neighbors. They also passed a rates law that creates a customer class. They have a requirement, the climate requirements remain, meaning that their utility companies need to have carbon-free electricity. And that's supposed to sort of force, or it's supposed to send a message to data centers that you cannot continue using fossil fuels. And then large data centers are going to be paying $2 to $5 million annually into an account to help low-income Minnesota residents with their energy efficiency and decarbonization.
So that's hopeful. I mean, if Massachusetts follows any of that, and if Massachusetts follows suit in any of those initiatives, then Markley has an opportunity to kind of be ahead of the curve and work with the sustainability division to get ahead of any of those and be a leader, which is what I would like to see. So,
Mayor, do you have that certain piece of legislation? I'd like to look over that.
I don't have the legislation because I was in a meeting. I took notes.
All right, I think we just have it here, but thank you. Because I want to look over that because, Minnesota is not as dense in a lot of areas as Massachusetts as a whole. So I think these data centers in general are going to be closer to people in the state. So understanding that they're going to have consequences
Oh, let me tell you, it doesn't matter where the data center is put, it will affect you. So Midwest states have become very aggressive because they are facing these effects now. Even though they have a lot of land and the land may be far away from people, it will affect you.
100%.
So if it wasn't that serious, Indiana, Minnesota, Ohio, Virginia would not be spending so much time in trying to find a solution.
Yeah, I think this is a huge issue. There's a lot to know about this. They're gonna be back, Markley is going to be back for additional approvals in front of the city council for additional diesel, generators and the fuel storage that comes with that. In 3 to 5 months, as of the last city council meeting, a month ago today. So we've got 2 to 4 months, to think about this from all angles and think about some suggestions. So like, while I would absolutely respect, I mean, Catherine knows a lot more about that, like a lot of people know a lot more, Catherine especially, Jay for sure. So, I would say team effort, and I would, Mary, I never disagree with you, but I would disagree in this case, that I think it would be helpful for us to offer up some suggestions and questions that we would have and see what else Catherine can think of that we can do to help this effort and making sure that the neighbors' concerns are addressed first and foremost, and that there's proactive planning with these this data centers expansion.
If they're coming
I have a question. So, Michaela, if they've had meetings, how do you know she hasn't asked the questions that you'd like to provide to her to ask?
Well, let's first let's get feedback from Catherine on what she's already asked.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, they
Yeah.
can cancel each other out too. We can give her some questions and she said, we already have the answers for that. Absolutely. So like, there's no, we probably have a lot of the same questions. So like, what she can say is asked and answered, no problem,
Is it not more cooperative to actually ask her to show up in our meeting or provide a report?
I have.
If someone is having meetings,
Yeah.
if someone is having meetings with someone, anyway, maybe I may not be getting the rationale. I'm usually used to other type of policy discussions, but I've found that it's usually very helpful to first hear somebody else out first, because that's the chief job that she was given. So maybe what we should do is maybe hurry up the process of asking her to give us a report.
Okay, should we have, I don't think we have to vote on that, but we can, all right, so should we move, do you want to move to ask Catherine to give us a report on where she's at now with data centers as a council? And then maybe debrief it at our next meeting?
Yeah, we should. And if she can provide the report even in writing earlier, that would be great.
Yeah. Okay, all right. I'll make the motion, I guess. So let's, I move to, ask Catherine, and the rest of the sustainability division, to give us a report on sort of the status of their communications with Markley and any of the questions they've already had addressed, in the name of the neighbors' concerns and also, being congruent with our goal board plan and climate goals, if possible, before the next meeting so that we can review it, and also let us know how we can help this council.
I second that.
Do we have enough votes?
I think so. Yeah, we have 4.
Okay.
I'm gonna abstain, but I think that still counts as a vote. So
Okay.
whatever the majority is, I would also, I don't know if there's a counter motion rather than focus just on Markley, but moving forward what the sustainability division would do with any data centers. Do we have a policy moving forward? Because this is gonna be a growing industry as far as energy usage, especially for all the glitz and glam of AI getting, This is a gold mine for a lot of smaller companies to grow. So can we ask for what the policy will be moving forward as a city for any data centers going in.
I'd rather just focus on Markley for now and then have it apply.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm,
Sorry.
no, I have to abstain, but it counts as a vote, I think.
Okay. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
So if they're coming back in front of the city council, this, I feel, would be a time where we put some of our energy into having one of us go in front of that, front of the council with some well-backed information and research. And
We've done it. We've done it before and we'll continue to do it. So it's not even like, yeah.
no, I know, but that's not,
Continue the research.
that's not, that's not all I'm just gonna give up. But I know, and I know that there's obviously been pushback in the city and it's been pushing forward, but this is an issue that should not just be left in the dust because we have direct residents being affected by it. So
Yeah, but does this, can you make public comment as the Lowell Sustainability Council? I don't know, but we usually do make comments as neighbors and as individuals. So if you're suggesting that somebody makes a comment as a public comment as part of the Lowell Sustainability Council, that's a different ballgame.
Yeah, I don't think we're able to do that, but we're very able
Yeah.
to do it as a Lowell citizen.
As individuals.
Which we've done,
Yeah.
as an individual, so you can't, because the chain of, what we can do is write a letter to the sustainability division, to Catherine, and then that kind of goes up the chain from there. So that's the way it goes. But I think as a council, we can absolutely keep researching this, work with the sustainability division on addressing the concerns and all the goals we already set. And I would like to make it the focus of our next meeting if we're able to work with Catherine on like our report and like debriefing from that report and having her share if she's able to come here, whatever information that she has. With us. All right, so we'll do that. All right.
I do think it is worth to have a citizen speaker though on this.
Well, yeah, we
Yes.
spoke, Mary spoke, I spoke,
Yeah,
or
we-
Jake spoke.
We're still advocating. You'd be surprised. There's Jake here, and there's a lot of people who are not letting this go. So,
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah. All right, so it's 7:54, goodness gracious, horrible timekeeper. So our next item, does anybody have anything else on that? Motion to, so I think Brian had a motion to request a community to our Castle House. Brian's not here, so I would move to table that. Advancement of climate education in Lowell Public Schools. Billy, I know this was a subject that we were interested in specifically. We can talk about that now, or
I think for the sake of time, we should get some more research
More,
on
okay,
that. We
all
only
right.
have 5 minutes. so-
next meeting. All right, sorry.
No.
Sustainability Division updates. What's up?
Catherine wanted to make sure that everybody knew that we had a couple upgrades from last season. We had one for a feasibility study on on-street EV charging.
Yay.
And a $5 million grant from the Green School Works. It's gonna go to, I always say names in this town incorrectly because I'm from the south, but is it Jean Darnett?
Yeah, actually, you said it like with the accent and everything.
And that will service pre-K through 12 children with autism. So is what the plans for that school. So, and the money is going to go toward, of course, working toward electrification. So,
Could you provide a little more input on the curbside EV charger? Okay.
So there's a survey, there's a survey that,
Best places for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and we'll post that survey on our Facebook page. So basically there's a survey of like what spots do you think would be the best spot for on-street EV charging. And it's $48,000, I think, right? It's 48,000. I think it's 48,000.
Yeah, and going back to the $5 million grant, we're starting to get buildings audited today. So,
Is this the ASHRAE on it, or?
oh, no, it's a look at it, looking at electrification.
Yeah.
Both of them, some of our buildings.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Oh, nice, good
Because
luck.
what's in there, those are bare bones buildings, with steam systems.
Yeah, it's old school, my brother went there.
Yeah.
Cool. What's up with the solar? What's new?
What's new with the solar? Anything new from the last time I told you? We're going, we're in the process of, what schools? We're looking at Pawtuckaville. There's already panels on there.
Yeah,
Um,
the middle school?
no, the elementary school.
Okay.
Wang already on it, but it's not, I just got the news today. Unfortunately, based on the slopes of the roof and today's, it's not looking favorable
Okay.
for solar. It's, other buildings, we've got green homes in the works, green home school. And in terms of garages, we're kind of re-looking at that again.
Great.
So looking at Roy Garage. Aon might be out of the question because of some other giant project across the river that has something to do with it. It's going to hold it up. That's nothing to do with it. Lower box, that's still going on.
Is there-
Downs Garage. Yeah, that's the one by the, Front Street, right, Freshman Academy.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Is there a company that's doing this for you guys?
Select.
Select, yeah. Oh, great. Okay, awesome. Cool. Oh, sorry, AC, go ahead.
This is more just a point of positivity. I'm in Pawtuckaville, but I get alerts on permits. And in the past maybe 3 weeks, about 16 permits have been pulled for private residents to get solar on their roof. So word of mouth is moving. I think people are liking it, so just a note of happiness.
16,
That's
that's
it.
a lot. In what neighborhood? That's 50 cents.
Well, we're a big neighborhood if you count Drake at Tingborough Forest area.
All right, well, it's almost 8 o'clock and I don't want to hold people up. Are there any more updates that we didn't? We'll table the criteria for initiatives framework. That's sort of like an ongoing thing, but I'd encourage everyone to just take a look at it. It's just kind of like how we would decide to take on new ideas and new initiatives. And there's a tab in the follow-ups and agenda tracker. Upcoming events and announcements. Folk Fest is this weekend. I hope everybody enjoys it and stays safe. It's going to be hot, so drink a lot of water. I don't know if anybody wants to, we couldn't table at Folk Fest, but if anyone wants to join me in volunteering for recycling at the Lowell Litter Crew table, I'll be there.
Victor is tabling it, so.
Oh, great, and stop by and see Victor. Where is he? Is it Shattuck Street?
Yes.
Awesome. All right, stop by and see Victor and say hello. And give him some water. He's probably thirsty. Maybe some cool fruit or something, I don't know. All right, motion to adjourn? Well, thanks, everybody.
Good night.
Bye.
Thank you.